Welcome back, Ferocious Education. This is Ed. Today I'm going to be covering this new, soon-to-be ticker, Clover Health, going on currently as a reverse SPAC that was just approved as IPOC. If you'd like to watch my previous video, you'll find it in the description below. This one here, I'm going to go through the trading cycles, what's expected to come in, especially since we're going to get its official ticker coming up soon. Make sure to drop a like to this video to help this channel grow, subscribe, and leave notifications on, and let's jump right into this. So, Clover Health. Clover Health has amazing solutions, and if you watch all my previous videos before, you will know how amazing the solutions they have. And just a quick comparable on this one here, if we were to go into the deeper dive video, you get to see designing the obvious plans, and you get to see the annual cost of incumbent insurance levels are somewhere at annual cost somewhere around high, and the axis is narrow. Now, Clover is aiming to have high access at a low cost, and that is something very bullish, very refreshing to see, and definitely if you're not a monster, that is definitely what you'd want for the elder generation. Now, the next thing here is taking a quick look at the average annual cost for Clover Health. You're looking at 1,871. That is lower than the competitor. Now, the average lifetime cost is one of the lowest you can ever see, and around 17% cost savings in general. So we already covered a lot of these things here, but quick thing in terms of the growth comparison, if you were to look in between 2025 and 2019, the growth here is massive. Total Medicare population will go from 62 million to 73 million. So that is around 14% in terms of the annual of the growth annually, from $270 billion to $590 billion. And I'm not going to go a lot more in details about all this stuff in here because I did cover it in my previous videos. Now, a lot of the question comes into, well, what happens next? We just got that approval coming up for the merger. Now, what is the big next step? Well, the big next step here coming up is, of course, having the merger. The new ticker. So currently here, it's trading as IPOC. The new ticker will be CLOV, and will start trading at the beginning of January 8th, 2021. So you do expect somewhere around January 8th, 2021, we'll have this new ticker CLOV. Now, that is going to be massive. You know, there's a lot of hype behind it. Now, the quick question is, what happens through the merger? So I'm going to dive through that a little. There was a previous one back in November about their analysts, and you get to read a little bit more if you're interested into that, but it's definitely looking bullish. Now, if we were to cover what happens here at this level, we can easily see, okay, Clover Health, next generation Medicare Advantage insurer, announces plans to become publicly traded. We already know that. We get to see some of the money that the Clover Health will result in. So the enterprise value is around $3.7 billion and is expected to provide $1.2 billion in net cash proceeds, including a fully committed pipe out of $400 million and up to $828 million in cash held in a trust account for SCH. Now, the pipe led by $100 million from, this is actually the former founder and CEO of SCH, and $50 million from Hedosophia. So they're putting a lot of their money online, and that kind of shows you a really strong belief in this company. Now, one of the biggest misconceptions is all the shares in IPOC will give you 100% of the float on the new ticker, and that is not correct. Usually it's somewhere around between 3 and 10%. So that is something to consider and keep in mind. Now, the next thing I want to cover before going to technical analysis is this typical chart. A lot of the time, this does happen. Now, here, something interesting has happened already. So if we were to look in terms of the price action, we really had, yes, we did have two jumps, but the jump strength was not as strong as anticipated. So we did have this kind of a little bit jump if you were to look onto one-day perspective, and it was more of a curve here a little. And currently, we're sitting somewhere close to here. Now, the expectation is that we might get another run tomorrow. And then follow that, usually what happens after the merger date ticks in, it actually starts dropping because of uncertainty period where majority of the profits are taken and risks increase. Generally, stock price dips initially. And so comes to the question to what I think is going to happen next. For this, we're going to go to technical analysis. If you haven't done so, please make sure to subscribe to this channel and leave notifications on. It helps YouTube know that this channel is worth something. And if you have any comments or recommendations or suggestions, put them down. I take every single one of them and read them. Now, 1 day perspective on the technical analysis, 1 week is not clear. We get to see your MACD is giving you a massive warning. It's telling you, hey, be careful. We are on a verge of a dip here. A reversal is going to be tested in the next 2 days. ADX is showing a retraction from above the 50 around this level and is showing a start of a downtrend. Now, 1,000,000% shows neutral, even though it looks like it's the most oversold it's been for a while. And momentum is still positive but retracting. Now, the moving averages are still very bullish. 10 SMA, the green line, is above the red line, 30 EMA, really bullish, and it's above the 50 SMA. Now, the good thing about this one, it's in the trading action zone where reversals are likely. So between 1537 and 1311, that is the trading action zone, and that's where you start seeing reversals at this level. And so we can expect, in case this one stays above 1311, we can expect some bounces here and there, similar to what we've seen this one here. So far, it is a warning sign, but still bullish. On a 2-hour perspective, we get to see moving averages are incredibly bearish. After it crosses the 1609, it goes fully bullish. Now, ADX shows in, no trends. Everything's almost sloppy. Momentum is a little bit negative. MACD shows a little bit of sideways, so we'll ignore this for now. The moving average band is expected to trade 1477 on the top, 1343 in the middle, and 1208 in the bottom. Now, one thing to look at is the stochastic fast and stochastic slow. So what we're seeing here on the stochastic fast and stochastic slow is that they're both dipping down. Now, that is a little bit of a dangerous sign, and it shows that there is a bit of a drop coming. Moving here next, we get to see the supports and resistances because we want to understand at what levels are we going to expect some bounces. So Fibonacci support puts in a support currently at the 1455. Below there, 1365, below there 1276, and below there 1166. Significant resistances are 1582 and 1744. Now the 1455, it slipped just a tad below there, so I'm going to give it a little bit off the error range and say it didn't break it yet. I still have a bit more of anticipation that it might bounce on top, but the next time it breaks it, it definitely will result in a little bit of an issue for us. So the next thing we want to look at is price line actions. Because it's above 1502 right now, it's still above the 1455, so we'll consider that as support. Currently, the significant support levels sit at 1503, 1473, 1450. Remember, the Fibonacci retracement was 1455, 1416, 1388, a really strong one at 1301, another concerning one at 1245, and then we go down to 1172. Significant resistances, we're looking at 1524, 1578, 1623, and then we're jumping up to 1667, and then up to 1702, and then all the way to 1790. Now comes to the question to Ed, what do you think is going to actually happen? Now, this is going to be a tough one. I really like Clover. I really like what they're trying to do. I believe in that product. I believe in that service. I think they have a massive future. They are a tech company that are moving on towards insurance and not the other way around. So that is incredibly bullish for the next century. Now, the big question here, a bit of actual different questions, what laws Biden introduces towards the financial system and how that changes the entire system and how Clover gets impacted. Remember, Clover is trying to combat all the insurances, and if new laws were to pass, it could be somewhat competitive. It's still better than Medicare, actually. So the next thing we want to look at is, okay, are we going to see that graph that I showed you earlier today happen? That first pump and then the second pump, and then we're dropping now. But right now we're around 1453. So if we were to skip the new ticker, I do expect for it perhaps to drop all the way to 1152 sooner or later, and then accumulate around there, and then definitely that's where I throw my money and invest. Usually what happens is it actually does drop around there. But keep an eye out. If you still believe in this one short term and you think it's going to defy that chart, because some of them defy it, right? Say 9 out of 10 follow that chart, 1 out of 10 don't. If you think that they're not going to do it, do me a favor and keep an eye at the 1450 mark. If it does break it, consider selling your position and then buying it at a lower average, or consider lowering your position just a little. just to keep yourself safe. But 1450 is a really critical point. What do you think about this ticker? Make sure to mention down in the comments below. Try to subscribe and like. You have a wonderful day.